That we have here is incline dumbbell press supersetted with chest supported dumbbell rows. Now we will be doing 3 to 4 sets of both of these exercises, and the rep range will be anywhere from 8 to 10 reps at a standard tempo. So here, just trying to go as heavy as possible, and definitely I could have gone a little bit heavier on the dumbbell rows. However, this was my first week on the program, so I didn't want to go too heavy so I don't ruin my form pretty much, because the goal is to get the form down perfectly so that you're engaging the right muscles instead of over engaging different muscles. So definitely went a little bit more lighter, was more conservative for that day, and I recommend you do that every time you start a program. Play around with the weight, see how many, what is your comfort zone, and then you could up the weight from there. Of course, try to push with intensity. So the rows I definitely could have gone a little bit heavier on, like I said. So I kept doing the 90s for about 8 reps. It was a little heavy for me that first week on the program, but that was the goal of the exercise, to go as heavy as possible for those 8 to 10 reps. I want to make sure by that last rep I'm at failure. I don't want to be saving anything left, pretty much. So I kept up with that. Yeah, I think we did 3 or 4 sets, 3 or 4 supersets. So definitely that was a tough start to the workout. All right, next exercise we have here is incline dumbbell flies, and we supersetted that with bent over one arm dumbbell row. So this row is a little bit different. This row is more targeted for the upper back rather than the lats. So you'll see in the next clip, when I do the one arm row, I will pull upright rather than to the side of my body. So I would be perpendicular to my body when I'm pulling up, rather than my arm would be perpendicular rather than it being parallel to my body, so I could target more of the upper back muscles, because that's the goal of this exercise. We're trying to activate more rear delts and possibly the mid upper back area, so especially to gain some thickness in the back, definitely. So when I'm doing these dumbbell flies, my elbows are a little bit bent. I do that because if I keep my whole arm at 180 degrees, I will feel a lot of tension in my shoulders. So I typically won't do that, because I'm putting my shoulders in a very compromising position, and that's just a recipe for disaster, pretty much. So I recommend, if you do that exercise, there could be a little bit of bend in the elbow. Some people say, no bend. I disagree. I think it's very easy for you to get injured if you do it that way. So we did about, also, I think, 3 to 4 sets here. So the reason I'm not sure is because the volume each week changes. So each week, or every 2 weeks, as I'm going through the program, the volume will progressively go up. So that means the sets might increase. There might be a drop set. There might be a rest pause set. Increase the weights. Anything like that. So every week is slightly different from the other. If I feel like that the volume from one week was good and I struggled doing that amount of volume, I will keep the volume the same for the following week. And usually I'll tend to find that keeping it, if I keep it for that first week's volume and then the second week I change it, the second week I don't change it, I'll find it to be a lot easier to go through. So I'll change it after that at some point. So next up here we have incline cable flies. Yeah, excuse my ridiculous faces again, but we supersetted that with rope cable face pulls as well. Here I was going for a 2-second negative, so I'm really just trying to think about that 2-second negative. So 1, 1, 1, 2, etc. So yeah, did one set of that, and then we switched over to the rope cable rope cable face pulls for around 10 to 12 reps. And I was trying to do a 2-second negative on it. So always think that after you do a set, reflect on how you did the set to say, okay, did I stick to the desired tempo, or was my form on point? You don't want to just do the set and then be like, okay, next set. You want to actually think, okay, did I do it properly? Am I engaging the right muscles? So yeah, definitely it's worth thinking about for sure. So after each superset, I usually take about 60 to 90 seconds rest, and I'll go back into it again. But I don't count it. I kind of just, since I've been training now for a while, I kind of know like when I'm ready, or when I could just count it in my head, like roughly count it in my head and just know, okay, like I'm ready now. But I would suggest get like a cheap watch, just a cheap stopwatch or anything, and just time yourself, or even just look at your phone, just see if a minute passes by, just to see, okay, like after this 60 seconds, do I feel ready, or do I need a little bit more time? So it just depends. As a beginner, you might need a little bit more time, because this kind of activity is like, it's a little bit strenuous, obviously. So, all right, next thing we had here was dumbbell shrugs. We did 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Really just trying to, I'm not going too heavy on this, by the way. I'm just trying to feel the contraction in the traps. Especially I noticed I have a big imbalance between my traps. One trap is bigger than the other, so I don't want to go too heavy, and then one side is working harder than the other, and you just build a bigger imbalance there. So make sure you grab a moderately decent weight. It doesn't have to be super heavy, just something moderate, and try to feel the contraction. And then we supersetted that with the incline chest machine press. I kept it a standard form here, 4 sets of 8, 4 by 8 pretty much. Kept it at that. And yeah, we finished off with that. Really, this was a low volume day, so you don't have to go super high volume for each workout. As long as you're progressively overloading, you'll be fine. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.